Good morning. Welcome to How Can Your Internet Connect Your Now Distributed Workforce with Red Level's dear friends at Valo, Mr. Vlad Katranescu. Vlad, how are you doing today?
Hello, Megan. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am doing quite well. The sun is shining. It's a little bit chilly, but other than that, it's a pretty darn good day.
The sun is shining. We actually got snow today. The sun was shining, but it was snowing.
Ooh.
So I still always have this theory that Mother Nature is waiting for people to put their summer tires on before snow stops. I mean, that's how it always happens every year. Like the March 15th date. Do you guys even have the winter tire laws in Michigan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's waiting for people for that date for people to put summer tires, and then we'll get the last snow of the season. That's how it usually works.
Okay, well, if you could hurry up and put your summer tires on, that would be great.
Next week on Tuesday. So,
Okay.
welcome everybody, and thank you for taking some time of your day to talk about how can your intranet connect your now distributed workforce. Let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Vlad Caprinescu, a product evangelist at Valo. And I think we had 45 minutes for this webinar. Is that right, Megan?
That is correct.
Okay, I'll try to finish it in 30. This way people get 15 extra minutes to get their at-home at-home coffee. And the goal of this webinar is I want to give ideas on how you can really promote the intranet to be that front door of the digital workplace that we talk about. That could apply whether you're on-prem, online, and kind of get ideas spinning on how you can enhance your intranet. As everybody probably knows, especially in North America, I know it's not the case for every country, but now we're all working from home, and we all knew that this kind of change in the way we work was going to get here, and kind of everybody was starting to enable the tools and everything like that. But the current crisis made it like now, like we have to switch within a week from everybody going to the office to everybody working from home. And for some organizations, it might be business as usual. There are some organizations that already had a strong remote culture, and for them, from a technical perspective, nothing has really changed. But for most organizations, it's a complete change from A to Z in the way that you access the tools. So at the IT level, being able to have access to all of the tools needed to do your job, to how do you communicate effectively with your employees, and how can you keep the company culture when people are not in the office anymore? You cannot really do any in-person activities, happy hours, things like that. So let's go through 3 or 4 different challenges that most companies seem to face as they work remote, and how an intranet can help. First challenge, and we're gonna go directly into the productivity part here, getting access to your tools. And I mean, what we did at the office, and we still do today in a way, is that we had multiple SharePoint sites, collaboration groups, whether they're in Office 365 collaboration groups, Yammer communities, Microsoft Teams, but those are now more active than ever because instead of being able to just walk to your colleague's office and just ask them a quick question, you're now forced into using those tools to actually collaborate. It's your only way of collaboration. So probably you have a ton of notifications. You wake up in the morning and then you already have over 20 notifications in Teams on stuff that happen. And for all of our other tools, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I have so many websites, so many tools that I sometimes by default, and I mean it's the easy thing to do, I just put them as a bookmark in my browser. I have a folder there with things that I want to use, and I just know that that's the computer that I use for working, and I'll always have them. But now a lot of you might have actual desktop computers that are still at the office, and your profile might not be synchronized with your work from home computer. So, how do you keep having access to those tools? And lastly, with the work from home, a lot of organizations have started using a lot more Office 365 apps. And now, since Megan is marketing, she's probably going to tell me it's not Office 365, Vlad, it's Microsoft 365. Well,
Exactly, Vlad.
Office 365 still have a special place in my heart. So, but yeah, different Microsoft 365 apps such as Forms, Power BI, Power Apps, we're really going to start using a lot more of those. But for end users, it can be really confusing because we kind of switched from, and this is not a sudden switch, a switch over the past few years of they only went to SharePoint, and SharePoint had their custom forums, their surveys. You wanted to put a video somewhere, you put it in SharePoint. But now that every app is more specialized, it's really tough for users when you tell them, oh, you want to fill this kind of form, you go to Power Apps. Oh, this kind of form, you go to Microsoft Forms. And with the 20 or I think we have about 20 different apps only in the Xcode Office 365 suite, without even talking about the Power Platform and the rest of Microsoft 365, it can be really tough for users to actually find all of the applications they need, even when those are actually built in-house. So let's take a look at a quick demo on how we can solve this first challenge. So, do you still see my screen, Megan? I always double
Yep.
check nowadays.
2020 benefits are here.
Yes. I it's already happened to me that I got so excited I keep talking and 15 minutes later people tell me, "Hey Vlad, we're still only seeing your slides, but we didn't want to interrupt you." So now I always double check. Uh,
It's okay. I wouldn't let you go 15 minutes.
only five?
Yeah, maybe
Okay,
5.
maybe five. Okay, so first one that I want to show you is teamwork. So, what teamwork is a page inside of my intranet where I can have a quick access to all of my collaboration groups, whatever technical entity, if I may use this word, is in the back, whether it's a SharePoint site, an Office 365 group created from Outlook, or a Microsoft team, or a Yammer connected community. I know that I can go to this single page and have access to all of my collaboration workspaces. I can also go for each different collaboration workspace. I can go on it and I can see all of the different tools and services that we use as part of that project in this case, whether they're internal to Microsoft or actually a third party service. Because as much as I love Microsoft, I know that a lot of you might be using Trello instead of Planner, Salesforce instead of CRM, and that's normal. So, but we still need to make our intranet the front door to the digital workplace, even if it's not only a Microsoft tool. Another one of my favorite features, remember when I said that your groups and teams are now more active than ever, is being able to focus on the ones that matter most to you. And this is where being able to favorite certain sites or certain groups becomes really useful because as I go to that page, the ones that matter most to me will always be at the top. And then when I go to, like, say, for example, to the documents tab over here, I can filter to see the my latest documents that I worked on and documents from my groups that other people have worked on, but only on my favorite groups. This way, I kind of block all of the noise that happens in maybe the 30, 40 groups that I'm part of, and I can focus on my 3 or 4 active projects. And if I want to see everything that's happening, it's only one click away. Same thing for discussions in Office 365 groups and things like that. Now, let's talk about my tools as well. Let me go to actually directly from here in the navigation. Part of being in a digital, part of the digital workplace really is personalization and allowing each and every user to personalize their intranet and their tools so it's productive to them. So imagine that instead of saving your links, your tools as a browser bookmark, you could quickly save them in here in My Tools. So under the My Links category, which is only me, I could go add a new link, create my own categories, like you have the bookmarks and folders, and being able to have it all stored in a central location. And since you have access to your intranet from wherever you're working, you would know that those applications would be there. From an intranet owner perspective, you could also directly make the most popular tools that you know of, and I'll tell you right away, you will not know of all of them, already as a selectable list, so you can pre-create them. And then as a user, I can say like, hey, I use a lot more AutoCAD and Basecamp. I don't need Revit anymore. Just select the tools that I want, and that's it. From all of the company tools that we have, I'm able to select the ones that matter to me. So, uh, being able to have those tools, even if they're not part of the intranet, even if it's a third party tool, being able to use your intranet as the central location to get to all of them is critical in that intranet adoption. Now let's talk a bit about other application integration. So let me go first of all, let me see where can I show this. Probably I can go into meeting rooms over here. Let me open it in a new tab. And in the meeting rooms, I'm still inside of I'm still inside of my intranet. But what I see here is actually a Power App that comes from Power Apps, part of the Power Platform. So even if it's an app in another tool rather than my SharePoint intranet, I should still be able to integrate all of my different Microsoft 365 applications in a single location. So I don't have to tell people, oh, you have to go to this app or to this app. No, the answer is in the intranet. Here's the link to the intranet. And then users never have to quit the front door to the digital workplace. I can also go at an example, let's say in traveling over here. I have a SharePoint page inside of my intranet, and then I have a request form. Why would I link to and make people quit the intranet to go to Microsoft Forms when I could simply add it inside my page? It doesn't even look like it's from a different system. It fits right in, and people can submit the form as they read the instructions on the left side. They have the form on the right, and they're able to see it all. You can also have, and let me go, I think in key figures over here, I have a Power BI report on employee satisfaction survey. So let's say that you have certain sales reports, certain HR reports, and you want to have quick access to them. Even, I mean, your users will be using those tools from the intranet. You should be able to consume the results from the intranet as well in your own protected space. So your intranet should be able to allow that. And of course, key figures here, if it's only meant for HR people and managers, make sure that your navigation is also security trimmed and personalized for every user. You don't want people to go in the intranet and see a ton of different links, a ton of different content. They click on it, and then they get a beautiful 404 access denied. You want to make sure that people only see the information that they have access to. So this was it for this quick demo on teamwork, my tools, and application integrations. Now let's talk a bit about communicating effectively. And I mean, when we were at the office, of course, we still posted inside of the intranet. But I don't know, Megan, if you've seen this before, but when you have an important news, there seems to be like poster and things like that
Hmm.
inside the elevator. And then you
In the
kind of have
bathrooms.
yep, in the bathrooms, kind of all over. And you also have that natural amplification by people discussing it in person and kind of people say, hey, have you seen this news? No, okay, I have to go see it. And kind of I call them water cooler discussions, stuff that people talk about when in person, but on Teams, I would maybe not necessarily open up a new written conversation with Megan about the news that we just got inside of the intranet. And I'm sure a lot of you, even if we try to get rid of email, and it seems that every other year we get a new app that's supposed to be the email killer, we still use a lot of email blast.
There is a
Uh,
lot of that.
it is a lot, yeah. But the thing is now that we've cut down on a lot of that in-person communication, there's so much more communication done by email and by Teams that your email blast will suddenly become even less important. Not less important, but people will have, instead of the usual maybe 20 emails per day, they're now going to have 40, and chances are the your email blast is going to be the last one they read. They're going to first of all look at what their boss sent them, what their client sent them, and get to those. And at the end of the day, they might have time for that email blast. And for you as well as a communication person, you often got the pulse, how people feel from those in-person conversations, kind of stuff that you overhear as people talk about it and things like that. So you know the impact that that news had. But those feelings, that pulse is something that people don't necessarily want to put in writing. So as you create communications, it's a lot tougher to know how people feel in a remote only world. So let's take a look at a few things here from uh, viewing news, commenting on news, but as well as how can you target and easily create content inside of your intranet, and how to get the pulse with polls. So I'm back here on my screen. Let me just go back to the root of my intranet over here. And I'll start with polls. I always believe that anonymous polls are a great way to get the pulse inside the organization. So something that you should try to have is try to have those quick one question, fully transparent polls, because if they're not transparent, a lot less people will participate in them. But if you're able to, let's say I'll just go on environment instead and change my vote, it calculates it automatically. It will show me the results right away. And because it's anonymous, it will allow me to, it not allows me, it enables me to participate a lot more without actually putting in writing that, oh, did you see who we just hired? I don't like that person. Or like, oh, I don't think we're going in the right direction as a company with the latest news and things like that. You still want to get the pulse on your news, and anonymous polls are a great way to do it. Now let me go here a bit in news creation. I'll just go from the toolbox, I'll go and create content, and let me just go create a news. With traditional intranets, what a lot of people had trouble with was, in a way, creating content, because it was very, very complicated. In especially in classic SharePoint, you almost needed to get IT to do it. But now that everything is remote and all of your communication needs to be done remotely, is more important to be able to get news out there a lot faster. So let's say I'll put Company Innovation Week as a title here. Also being able to schedule news, because sometimes we want to publish stuff, or we have things we want to share and we want to be able to work on it before but not make it public right away. Being able to publish them at a certain date is really, really awesome, and it can also allow you to, even if you have 4 ideas today on stuff you want to share, whether it's news, pages, best practices, things like that, being able to schedule them to make sure that your intranet is always active is a really nice way to get people to come back because there's always new content. So say I want to publish this one right away, it will be a highlighted news. Let me go create the news article. Actually, something that I wanted to cover, and of course I forgot. Let me, I'll just go to ValoCares here. It's just a different intranet. As you create the news, I'll just, let's get the metadata here. You should also tag it with the right metadata. And this way, when you actually create uh, your news rollout, so news from all over the intranet, you can leverage the metadata, such as, for example, different tags, business area, office location, and then you can create cool things such as this one, where you have the highlighted news, so the stuff that all the companies should be able to see, and then you can have different type of news depending on the user. So you can have, for example, local news that are automatically filtered when the office location of the news is the same one as the user browsing the page. You could have my department news. This way, I can see stuff from my department. And that is very important because even with artificial intelligence and machine learning, and Microsoft keeps launching all of those buzzwords that we try to use, at the end of the day, you need to tag your content properly to be able to create those rollouts after and make it actually useful for people. So tagging your content, implementing news targeting, intelligent news targeting, depending on who your user is key for people to find the information that matters to them. Especially again, as we work from home, there's a lot more digital content happening. So that will it will allow them to focus on the stuff that matters to them. Also being able to find people, and I'll talk a bit more about the culture here, but being able to communicate is being able to find people, find their information. So let me search for Yuha here, for example, directly out from the home page. I can search for people, I can call them, I can instant message with them on Teams and things like that. So a really cool small feature, but allows people to connect and find the people they need to collaborate with a lot faster. And now let me go back to my news here that got created with the template. I don't want to spend a lot of time in it, but uh, you need to make sure that your intranet can enable every single user, whether they're technical, so somebody from the IT department, or somebody from HR or marketing, who, of course, uh, I say that we're all IT people now. We all need to know how to use the computer and how to manage the systems, but you don't need to have a certification and have years of experience to be able to add a news on your intranet and make it look pretty. So as easy as it can be, the more content will be created, the more effective and active your intranet will be. Another kind of integration. Let me go to the 2020 benefits are here that Megan referred to before. If I scroll at the bottom, and I'm not sure if we can do a quick poll in here, but see how many people are actually using Yammer as well as a communication tool. And I mean, Yammer was always a key part of the collaboration and communication stack, especially for, I call it, collaborating with everybody in your organization, not with only people that you know as in a team. But being able to integrate that, even if somebody loves Yammer and they prefer to go on Yammer, they can go on here, they can see the same exact news. So they have access to those news, whatever app they prefer to, as I call it, to wake up with. And then the comments being able to be unified. So I can see here, thanks for the information, it's really useful, this is super awesome. Those are the exact same comments that I have inside of my intranet. So not because somebody's consuming those news from another application such as Yammer, that they should actually be penalized and not have access uh, to all of the content. And I see comments as really content. Okay, now I see that finally I'm gonna end up using the 45 minutes, Megan. Seems like I talked too much. I'll blame it on you,
It's okay.
as
It's all my
always.
fault. Yeah, it's all good.
And the last thing that I want to talk about is keeping the company culture and innovation. And the company culture is something that is very tough to talk about because it's so unique in every company. For a lot of organization, the company culture is a lot about the stuff that happens at the office, the in-person communications, the happy hours, the free lunches. And I mean, there's a few companies in Montreal that kind of got the Silicon Valley vibe now as well, that you have a free healthy lunch at the office. You have a full-time barista at the office. You even have like a bar, things like that. And the company culture is a lot about what happens at the office. And you lose that when you go remote because I mean, w- yes, of course you can allow people to expense Uber Eats at home, but it's
It's
not the
not
same
quite the
thing.
same.
Yeah, it's not the same thing as eating with your colleagues every day and knowing that everything is taken care of, having the same barista that kind of knows how you like your latte and things like that. So it's really tough to get that full company culture in a remote workspace, especially if a lot of your company culture depended on what you did inside of the office. And another thing that is really tough to take remotely can be the innovation part. And I always say that even if we're in a crisis and it's not something that is easy for most of the organization, it's time that we look at what we can do to innovate our current processes. And a lot of innovation inside of the organization happened in a way in a go talk to your manager way. Like you have an idea on how to make this process better, go talk to your manager, launch them the idea, and we'll take it from there. And in person, you can see your manager's face, as I say. You can see if they think, hey, this is really smart, or if they look at you and they're like, what's this guy talking about? It makes no sense. So a lot of that innovation unfortunately stops when we go in a remote only workplace because people are a bit shy to actually launch their ideas. So let's take a look at three different things on discovering communities, ideas in teams, and events, as well as I'll also talk a bit about a crisis communication site. I'll just not go back to the slides this way. I'll try to be closer to the 30 minutes I talked to you guys before rather than 45. So first of all, communities. I'm sure that a lot of you are having Yammer communities, Office 365 communities, whether they are a running club, a foodies club, or things like that. And when you join an organization, I always found for all of the organization that I worked at, uh, it's tough to find those communities. Like you don't know about them and they're not in an easy to find place. And as you focus on your work every day, it's not something that you really go out looking for either. Part of the teamwork here, I didn't go to the last tab on purpose before. I was keeping it for this demo. I can go in the discover groups part of the Discover Groups tab, and here I can see all of the public communities that I can join. So it will not show private stuff, it will not show stuff that shouldn't be shown, but really all of the public groups and communities that somebody could join. And this will makes it a lot easier than going to Teams. Are they doing it in Teams? Or are they doing it in Yammer and things like that? You know that you can go to a single location and find all of them. For ideation, uh, something that you can have, and I always encourage everybody to have, is a co-innovation channel, whether that's in Teams or that's in SharePoint, having a place where not only people can launch ideas, so people can give ideas, but allow everybody else from the organization to go, let's say, for example, in the product launch campaign and be able to view ideas, view things like that, create their own ideas. And the best part is that after that, other people can vote on them. Other people can say, "Hey, this is a great idea. This is what we've done as a previous client or at a previous company." And this way we can and this way you can get ideas from across the organization and allow everybody to work on them to make them better. And the last thing for the events, I'll actually show them as part of the crisis communication site, which is a really quick site template that we have made available, is the crisis communication site. And this is something that I always say, crisis communication is all about the communication. And as an organization, of course, you don't have the answers to everything in the world. I mean, if you did, life would be so much easier. But it's all about effectively communicating what you know and also enabling a two-way communication so that people feel heard. If somebody has a question, not having to go through 25 different loops and kind of the task of Asterix and Obelix to actually get the answer, and being transparent, being directly from the site, being able to ask questions. How should we work with this now? What is the plan for this? Being able to share targeted news, as well as being able to share resources. So, for example, here at the bottom, I have resources not even from the company, but from trustable resources such as the World Health Organization, the CDC, and things like that. So people can go to the single location and get all of the information they need, whether it's from the organization or whether it's from third-party sources. And of course, not only for a crisis site, but in general, being able to share events that people can go on, see what the event is all about, add it to their calendar. And that event might be online, so it can be a Teams meeting, or if it's something that's bigger, or if you're a bigger organization with over 250 people, which is the limit for Teams meeting, you can have it as a live event as well. So, for example, you can have maybe weekly CEO briefings in a live event format, like we're actually on the webinar right now, but probably with a camera or things like that to add a more personal feeling. And this way, everybody can see the events that are coming up and participate in them. And from a culture, small things make a big difference. And I was really surprised as I joined Valo. when I joined, the biggest request for a feature we had was the birthday web part. I never really, before joining Valo, I didn't know how popular this would be, but now I see why. Being able to know your colleague's birthday, being able to just go under, like say, Saralina's birthday, be able to just say, tell Sarah happy birthday via Teams, maybe chat with her. It's a great way to connect with colleagues. And for some of them, we might not actually talk a lot with them. So being able to connect with colleagues is part of the culture. And the birthday web part, even if it's not, if it's meant kind of as a publishing tool, really enables people to reach out, say happy birthday, chat with people, and that builds stronger employee relationships, and that brings builds a stronger company in the end. So I think I did 38 minutes,
Not too bad.
so not too bad. Usually I go over time, so I'm actually really happy. Uh,
That's
any
okay. We still
questions
have
we have?
questions to go. So,
Yes.
first up, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Vlad, feel free to enter them into the Q&A panel. We did have a couple that came in while you were on. So the first up question is, do you have a document that summarizes the Microsoft tools and best uses for them when there are multiple options available?
Ooh, let me try. I think I actually have a nice link, and go to the next one. I'll just uh, Google something really quick. Uh,
You mean Bing it?
Bing it, of course.
Okay, so next one up is a unique theme site like this, branding, etc. Would this be a separate Valo instance, or is this an option to create for current Valo customers?
So the crisis site or the uh, can you repeat the question, Megan? I was too busy
Absolutely.
binging. It seems I can only do one thing at a time.
Oh, Vlad. So, one more time, a unique themed site like this, branding, etc. Would this be a separate Valo instance, or is this an option to create for current Valo customers?
So current Valo customers can create it. Their Valo partner uh, should can of course help them to create it, but with Valo you can create as many intranets or sites as you want inside of your tenant, brand each site differently. So you would need to create, of course, a new site in order for it to be focused, but you can adjust that branding at that site level and decide if it's a separate instance or just attach it to your current intranet. The option is really yours, and I'll have to take the consultant answer here. Which one is the right one? It depends, but both options are available.
Okay. Next up, is it too late to implement an intranet now during the crisis?
So I don't think it's ever too late to actually deploy new tools that will make your work life better. I know that kind of an intranet right now, it's the thing that you're like, I wish we had this 3 months ago, so it would be ready as this is happening. But it's kind of you need to start today. You need to start implementing today, and you need to start small, especially now when projects are projects are a bit getting cut. Start small, implement a V1, get feedback from people, and then make it that big intranet project later. But intranet projects should not be 1 year long. They should be, let's get started, let's add value right away. And you can create an intranet like the ones that I showed you in 10 days and have somebody from external, a Valve partner, do most of the work and then continuously iterate to make it better. So it's never too late to actually start. And if you don't have one, I think the current situation that is happening today shows why every organization needs an intranet.
Well put. I agree. So next question up, what if we are on premise? Will Valo work on premise as well?
So, of course, if you're on premises, you will not have Microsoft Teams and Yammer. But other than that, the intranet and the stuff that I showed you, for example, teamwork, the intranet, all of that works on premises as well. There will be a few other things to enable, of course. If you're on premises, you'll probably need to connect to VPN, or you need to do a few more things at the IT perspective the to make it possible for users to connect. But you're able to get that same end user experience in the end.
Okay. That is all the questions that we have for today. If you have any additional questions, you can feel free to email us at info@redlevelgroup.com, give us a call, or come hang out with us on our website. With that, I would like to thank Vlad for his time today, and thank you for your time today. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.